Howdy folks, I'm enthusiastic European skipper, eagerly enjoying excellent endives.
I'm Amber.
And here are more excellent endives for us to enjoy. Oh no, they were Reddit stories. And folks, if this is your first time viewing or you're a new subscriber, welcome! This is a show where we teach you how to rock your wedding in 3 easy steps.
I mean, that would not actually be true. Also, we have a live stream.
And that's right folks, we have a live stream coming up later today. For more information, please see the end of the video. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to lie for my friend who faked being pregnant to get her boyfriend to propose? So this is a messy one. My best friend is a 25-year-old female, and she has been dating her boyfriend, a 27-year-old male, for 3 years. She has been obsessed with getting him to propose. He's more of a slow and steady type, always saying that he wants to be financially secure first, buy a place, etc. She got tired of waiting and told me that she was going to give him a little push. That push was pretending to be pregnant. She bought fake tests from Amazon, found an ultrasound pics on Pinterest, and then she even downloaded a pregnancy tracking app in case he checks her phone. I begged her not to go through with it, but she swore that she would come clean after the proposal. So yeah, she tells him, he panics, and then he proposes 2 weeks later. She's over the moon, he's trying to process everything. The whole time I've been biting my tongue. But then he called me and he sounded kind of nervous, kind of off, and said, I know this is kind of weird, but has she ever said anything to you about not actually being pregnant? Apparently some of her timeline didn't add up, and she slipped up by saying something about sushi a few days ago. I panicked and I said, you just need to talk to her. Now my friend is furious. She said that I should have covered for her, that she was going to come clean after the wedding now, and that I ruined her future. She blocked me for 2 days, unblocked me just to send me a long paragraph about how I betrayed her, and didn't understand what it's like to be scared of losing the love of your life. I genuinely didn't out her, but I didn't lie either. I just couldn't do it. But now I'm wondering if I should have just said nothing. She's spiraling, and everyone in our friend group is picking sides. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, not the jerk. If anything, like maybe a little bit of the jerk for not telling him sooner, but not the jerk for not covering for the friend. You know, what she is doing is inexcusable. She was trying to manipulate the situation because things weren't happening on her terms.
Yeah.
If you have to manipulate your partner to force a proposal, the relationship is not in a good place and you should not be getting married.
Yeah. I mean, I agree on that. I think that the only crime that OP could have possibly committed in this situation would have been not to tell the boyfriend sooner. But I can also understand them feeling torn and hoping that their friend would come clean and not actually go forward with this. And the friend kind of like moved the goalpost. First they're like, oh, I'll tell him after the proposal. And then she's like, oh no, I'll tell him after the wedding. And I just don't think that this situation was ever going to work out in her favor, right?
No, I mean, because what was she expecting? To be like, they get married and then they're like, oh, ha ha, I'm not actually pregnant? Like, how did she think that was going to go over for him? He's just going to be like, oh, yeah, that's fun, ha ha. None of this was going to work out. And so she made very bad choices and decisions. And honestly, it shows how little she values him as a person.
Yeah.
That she's willing to lie about something so significant and manipulate him to try and get what she wants.
Yeah.
You know, OP didn't ruin her future. She ruined her future.
And also, OP needs to consider, do they really want to be a friend with someone who could lie to the person who's supposed to be closest to them about something so big? Because, like, if she's willing to lie about this to her partner, what other things is she willing to lie about? How reliable of a friend is this actually, right?
Right. I mean, honestly, you know, I think at this point in time, OP probably should just cut her off because she's not a good person.
Yeah. Like, this is coercion at its peak here, right? What she did here was absolutely unconscionable. I just don't see how she could possibly ethically feel good about this.
Right. It's not ethical. It's completely unethical. Her partner was not able to make an informed decision because he didn't have all the information. He had misinformation.
Yeah. And even if she told him after the wedding, he probably could have gotten a annulment, right?
Right.
Because like he got married under false pretenses.
Well, I think like if I'm cynical, but like I mean I don't know how far out this wedding was going to be, but like I imagine she was planning on either never telling him or just faking a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And like neither of those options is great.
No, I think that she probably wasn't planning on telling him, and she was just hoping that OP would keep their mouth shut. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Efficient Society 73 says, not the jerk. It's not your job to lie for your friend. If her boyfriend wasn't ready to get married, and that was what she was looking for, she needed to move on. Instead, she faked baby trapped the guy and expected you to lie for her. This is not the way to start a marriage. Be glad she blocked you because friends don't behave like this to each other. And Zofina Bloom says, not the jerk. You didn't out her, you just refused to lie. Faking a pregnancy to trap someone isn't love, it's manipulation. And Full Pace 7666 says, I think you handled it well. Personally, I would have ended a friendship and warned the boyfriend immediately if it had been me. This is an instance where outing is 100% deserved. And Rocky's mom, 66212, says, same. Being willing to do all of that shows that you are fundamentally a terrible person. Yikes. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not inviting any of my family to my wedding and replying that I knew that they would be too busy when they question about why? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I'm the youngest of my family of 5. My siblings are all 10 plus years older than me. We're all full siblings too. I was the accidental pregnancy that happened when my parents were done having kids. I have often questioned if it was because I was an accidental pregnancy. They've never really wanted me, and therefore we ended up here. But of course, nobody ever said that to my face. That's just where my brain goes. There is a repeated pattern of everyone having plans or being too busy when it's my birthday or something important in my life happens. With my siblings, I understand more. We were never close and they never pretended that we were, or they never cared. It's different with my parents. Some examples that I can mention. I had a joint 16th birthday party with my best friend. I was 16 that Friday and she was 16 that Sunday, and the party was Saturday. My best friend's parents paid for both of us, even invited my whole family. My siblings never replied, which I took to mean no. My parents said that they had other plans, even though they never told me that before when I had asked them about the party. They never said it when I originally invited them either. They said that my siblings would come to make up for it, but they told our parents that they had important jobs that they couldn't get away from on a Saturday night. For my 18th birthday, I invited them out to a family dinner. My siblings said that they were all working that weekend. My dad said that he was going to be in the hospital after a procedure and he never mentioned before, and he didn't actually have it in the end, and he wasn't in the hospital, though he did go somewhere that night. My mom said that she was visiting her sister and couldn't get away. None of them had any dates that they said that they could be free for. For my 21st birthday, it was the same. Only my parents said that they would come and then they didn't. They all had medical/dental stuff. My high school and college graduation were 2 events where everyone had a medical appointment and could not reschedule to come. I started going to therapy a couple of years ago to help me navigate how I felt about everything. My original therapist was really good, but she had to leave due to an illness, and I struggled with my current one. She has encouraged me to keep trying with my family and to always be open for them to return my efforts. She said that it's important to never give up on family. I was reaching the end of my rope when my fiance and I got engaged, especially with how close I've become with my future mother-in-law. I was talking to him about how I didn't know if I should invite them to our engagement party or wedding, and how I didn't want to, but a part of me felt like I had to because of the therapist. He suggested that I make one more attempt by inviting them to the engagement party, and if none of them show up, that I can say that I tried over the years and even gave them one more chance, but I have to move on for my own peace of mind and for our future kids. He then said that we can get married knowing that I had given them more chances than most would. Nobody showed up to our engagement party. Everyone had a medical appointment from 8 p.m. until late Friday night. My whole family, both parents, all 4 of my siblings, and their partners and kids. I did what my fiance suggested and I decided that I was done. It felt so good and it still feels good. But they found out that the invites went out and asked why they weren't invited or given the info for the wedding. I told them that I had known that they would be too busy and didn't want to inconvenience them by having to explain all of the important stuff going on in their lives that prevented them from coming to my wedding. There was some backlash from my text before I blocked them. It felt good to be free. But then my therapist said that my wedding was a really big thing not to invite them to, and that I really didn't want to close the door forever and be the kind of person who doesn't value family. For a while, I've considered if I need a different therapist. My fiance believes so from what he's heard from me. But I don't know yet if that's just because he's so protective of me, or if the therapist is right and I'm being a jerk and she's trying to stop me from being one. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. Opie, I think you handled that situation beautifully, and you need a new therapist right ASAP. Honestly, I would report your therapist because what she is saying is actively harmful to you and your well-being. These people have not given you any regard for years upon years upon years. I mean, being like, oh, we all have medical appointments at 8 p.m. at night. Like, come on. That's not there are very few doctor's offices that run at that time. How did your entire family have doctor's appointments? It's very clear that they have just don't care about you.
Yeah, I mean, they're treating OP like they're dumb, right? Like, oh, haha, just come out and say that you don't want to go, right? The medical appointment excuse or being busy excuse only works once, really, before people start to question whether or not you are really actually, sick or have some appointment, right? It does not work as a blanket get out of these events every single time. People catch on. People aren't dumb. They know when you aren't showing up to every single event and you're using the same excuse, right? And it's one of those things where you have to certainly be honest at a certain point and say, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sorry, right? And you don't need to even give an excuse at that point in time. You can just say, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sorry. I don't blame OP for uninviting them to the wedding and blocking them. They don't seem like they respect OP. They don't seem like they care about OP. And that's really kind of what this boils down to. I just don't think that OP needs to have them in their life. And I think that the therapist should be fired, right? OP needs to fire their therapist and find a new one.
Yeah, because if your therapist is causing you actual emotional distress and making your mental health worse, that is not a good thing. How OP acknowledges that once she finally let these people go, it felt very freeing. That's a sign that it was the right thing to do in the moment. And I mean, sometimes people can run away from their problems, and that's not a good thing. There are times when doing the right thing is painful, but this is not one of those situations. OP is just having respect for herself and her time and choosing to be supported by people who actually care about her, not just inviting her parents so they can either blow her off or show up to pretend like they're the great parents.
Yeah. And then one last thing is I think OP can reflect. What would their previous therapist have said? Right? If OP can think back and kind of predict what their old therapist would say about this, then maybe they have more of a point than what they think they do, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And New Seesaw 2373 says, I'm curious if you were invited holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas, or if your siblings have invited you to their weddings or birthdays. What's that been like? Do they always exclude you from everything, or do they just not show up to your celebrations? But most importantly, not the jerk, and kick this therapist out. Your family isn't worth it. And OP replies, I was invited to some weddings and baby showers, other stuff that I wasn't invited to by my siblings. My parents normally go to them most years, so I think that looking at it logically, it makes sense why I got invited to what I did when I did and not others. So it doesn't even sound like OP's invited to Thanksgivings and stuff like that.
Right, the parents just go to the siblings, and yeah, I mean, that's not a good situation.
And Final Figure 7150 says, I'm so sorry to say this, but I think that the weddings that you were invited to were out of obligation to save face. They didn't want to explain to people why one of their full siblings wasn't invited. I think that comment has a lot of merit. And OP replies, I think it was for the gifts, because I was only invited once when I was 18. Same with the baby showers. Oh, that's a really terrible way of viewing things, but probably not inaccurate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really unfortunate situation. And the thing is, when you decide to have a child, you need to commit to that child, even if they're, even if it's not convenient timing, even if you've already raised kids, just providing them a roof over their head and food on the table is not enough. They need to feel loved and supported, or you end up causing serious psychological damage.
Yeah. And Katsarvu 101 says, I know you said that you're full sibling, but are you sure that you're not an affair baby? Because, wow, Not that an innocent baby deserves that either, no matter the circumstances of the birth, but it would almost explain their behavior a bit more because what in the world? So cruel. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with treatment like that from your family. And OP replies, I'm positive. I confirm that I'm a bio kid of my parents. And Black Mamba 9 says, how did you confirm out of curiosity? And OP replied, I did a DNA test. I figured that's what they meant.
Yeah.
Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? Throwaway, shortened for character count. For some context, I've been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids, Adam, 28, and stepkid number 1, Ben, 26, and stepkid number 2, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam's getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée Alice, 27. We've all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles in the wedding. Charles is the best man, and the 2 other boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Well, last weekend we had dinner for my husband's birthday. All the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought it up again that she was so excited to go dress shopping, and that we planned to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress, and me a stepmom of the groom's dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, what are you expecting mom to wear, a suit? And Alice responded with, my name isn't going. You know we are keeping our guest list very limited and only family and a few close friends. What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed later. Why? Adam said that it's because that I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited, that it was cruel to leave me out given that I've been his parent for a majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I adamantly sat there for a minute just looking shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, well, my husband told me that he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the jerk. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing that I could get out. I told my husband that I would be waiting in the car and I left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyways, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try smoothing things over, and he was still adamant that I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested that I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him, too bad. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking what in the world I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and it's time to set those texters straight. It sounds like they're hearing Adam and Alice's sides of things and not yours and your husband. So I'd actually have your husband reach out to those people and give them a true account of what really went down. Because this is very bizarre behavior, and I'm not sure who's calling the shots here. Or what the exact reasoning is. Hopefully they'll be able to get to the bottom of it, but this seems like a very abrupt thing to, after having what's a seemingly close relationship for so long. Opie mentions in the comments that she was a stay-at-home mom. They had 50-50 custody, so she did like a lot of child rearing and has never like treated the kids, her stepkids, as not her kids. And it just seems like it's all coming out of left field.
You know, the thing is, like, I think that they are right and they can invite whoever they want to the wedding, right? But the other family members are correct as well. They can choose not to go. And, you know, the thing is that there are always going to be competing interests, and you really have to decide what's important to you. And again, like, how many stories have we had where we've been like, well, you know, their stepmother isn't entitled to go if they're not invited, right? And unfortunately, I kind of have to stick with that view in the respect of, like, if they don't want her there, then they don't have to have her there. But stepmom, OP, didn't tell everyone else not to attend, right? It was their own choices. They're saying, well, if she's not invited, we're not going either. And so they can't blame OP for, telling other people what to do. OP didn't tell them what to do. They made their own choices. And so just like they made their choice not to invite OP, other people are making their choice not to go to the wedding. And I think that's really where this kind of has to fall at, right?
Yeah, and I think it's very important though to get the full story out there for people.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you.
Because I think once people understand that OP has not done anything, and understand why OP's husband and children are making the choices that they are, and it's worth mentioning that the other stepson has high support needs autism, and so that's why he's kind of like a non-issue in this. So he doesn't have. He's upset that the family is fighting, but he doesn't have like any adverse feelings toward OP or the brother. He just wants things to be happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a bad situation, and I feel bad for OP, and I really want to get to the bottom of where is this coming from. Does Adam have some deep-seated resentment? Is this something Alice is doing that she just doesn't like OP for some reason? Or is this something that Adam's mom is like pushing him for? Because they come out in the comments that Adam's stepdad is invited. So OP is the only one who's not invited and being told she's not family.
Yeah, that's a terrible situation. It's a real rough situation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the lumber go to the spa?
Oh, why did the lumber go to the spa? I can tell you why the lumber went to the spa. I know some lumber, and I know why they go to the spa. It's so that they can get nice and hydrated so that their boards don't warp and shrink. But I mean, they actually are counterintuitive because like the more moisture that the boards absorb, the more they're going to become more warped. So I don't know. I mean, I think that they're trying to protect themselves from becoming, into boards.
It wanted to get to get its nails done.
To get its nails done. Oh.
And it's National Mani-Pedi Day.
Oh, so make sure to go find yourself a mani and a pedi and get them done. And I have Mega Mint. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Fantastic Friday, folks. I hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on wedding drama.
If your partner isn't ready to marry you, then don't manipulate the situation. Just reevaluate the relationship.
Yeah. And also, you can choose who not to invite to your wedding, but you can't control who goes to your wedding. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Or later tonight.
Or later tonight!
Bye!